All right. This is Jesse, or Captain Mallard, as you know me, Captain GoldenEye Mallard. We're doing another live video here at Tumbleweed and Simi Valley. And what I have a person here in front of me, Miss Harriet Tubman. Now, Miss Tubman, you're very famous for this time period. And what are you famous for?
I was one of the conductors of the Underground Railroad, and arguably one of the first true feminists in the United States.
Now, when you say Underground Railroad, that's going down, that's a railroad, a train goes underground?
Actually, the Underground Railroad is not an actual train. It is actually an unofficial or a secret society that basically, it was a chain of friends, abolitionists, and secret tunnels and homes that helped slaves escape to the north to freedom.
Oh, so when a slave from the South was going to escape, they wanted their freedom, and this was still, slavery was still happening then, right? Serious issue, right?
Around the 1850s, when slavery was still legal. It was still legal for another man to own a human being.
Now, couldn't you get in trouble for that?
Absolutely. So a lot of these people, a part of the Underground Railroad network, were risking their lives. You often, you could be jailed or fined or even killed for helping a slave, fugitive slave escape.
So why would you do such a thing then? What would make you put your life at risk to save their life?
Well, at a very young age, I found a connection with God, and God has guided me many times to make decisions in my life. But I also know that there were two things that I had a right to, and that was either liberty or death, and I was certain to get either one either way.
Wow, that is something else. Now, so do you know about how many people you helped through this escape to slavery?
Yes. Through the Underground Railroad, personally, I ushered 70 people over an 11-year period. But overall, whether I personally ushered them to freedom or helped them through one of our agents, I helped over 300 people through the Underground Railroad.
Wow, so that's a lot of people considering what was going on during that time, and people had to risk their lives to save them and get them out.
It was a lot of people.
So they went from the South all the way up through
to the north.
To the north?
Yes.
Now, were they safe in the north once they got there in the north?
Well, they did release the Fugitive Slave Act that actually made it illegal for a slave to be free once they got over to the lines. So once they got to the north lines, past the Mason-Dixon line, they exactly weren't free and they were not safe. So oftentimes after that law was passed, most of these slaves were actually ushered all the way up past the Mason-Dixon line all the way through to Canada.
To Canada, so they were free in Canada. Now,
Absolutely.
do you think that a lot of these people who moved to Canada through the Underground Railroad, is their family still up that way, you think? Most of their descendants are up there?
There's a lot of descendants of the black slavery and the Underground Railroad movement that still live together.
So essentially, if their family is living up there, their descendants, they may have had kids, grandkids, great-grandkids,
Right.
great-great-grandkids by this time.
There's probably a lot of
and
Canadians.
so really, you said 300 people that you helped get through,
Right.
in one way or another, but it's probably in the thousands or hundreds of thousands of people by this point that actually have their life because you help people escape the slavery.
Exactly. And in terms of even after the Underground Railroad ended, after the Emancipation Proclamation, I also continue to help the movement of freeing slaves and freeing people through other. I acted as a spy for the Civil War. I also was a nurse and a cook, and I also helped with a few raids.
So you didn't give up. You just had a heart to help people. That's what you were given, that heart to help people.
I had a heart to help people, my family. I believe that my freedom was as important as another person's freedom. And often I funded my own endeavors to help slaves. And in fact, I actually died penniless.
That is one of the more amazing stories that you can hear about when you come here to Tumbleweed, and when you can read about in history as well. And Miss Tubman, one last thing I'd like to ask you is, how did you feel when you were helping these people, and did you ever get caught?
I in the 11 years that I helped people on the Underground Railroad, I've never lost one slave, not one person. We were never caught. We never had lost one person who went back to the South. Everyone ended up free. And how did I feel? I felt like, at the beginning, I felt like a stranger in a different land. But when I rescued my family and my friends, I felt the glory of God washing over me.
Well, Miss Tubman, we thank you for your help getting those slaves out of that horrible situation that they were in. And we thank you for caring about humans, people, just everyone. God bless you, Miss Tubman.
Lord be.